So we were discussing about this particular hardware component called cache, and we convinced ourselves that if I have to have a cache, then I do have to have a tag because I'm storing frequently used data here because of temporal locality and of course because of spatial locality also. But we need to have tag. The tag stores the address and the data is stored here. So we saw a design where we had 8 bytes of data and there are 8 tags. The CPU was generating an 8-bit address, which means that I am storing 8 bits here, 8 bits here, 8 bits here. So how does the system work? So when the CPU generates an address, it will actually search in the entire tag array. So it will search all of the 8 in parallel. It will not do one after the other because then the time, I am optimizing for time. So I will search all of them, all of the 8 in parallel. If the address is a hit, then the corresponding element in the data is what I'm looking for. So initially, let's say the CPU generated 0x3e. I searched it in the tag. It was not there in the tag. This address is not there in the tag. So I go to the main memory, fetch the 0x3e, the data of 0x3e, give it back to the CPU, and keep the data of 0x3e maybe here, and actually note down the address. So I note down the address that it is 0x3e here. Then the CPU generated an address 0x8. So I searched 0x8 here. It is not there. I went to the memory and brought and gave it back to the CPU 0x8. I also kept a copy of the 0x8 here in my cache. So I'm keeping a copy of it. I'm caching the data here. So I copied the data 0x8 here. I am kept the address 0x8 here. So the address is kept here. Then when the CPU actually generates 0x3 again, if the CPU generates the address 0x3 again, when I search the tag, I know that this is a hit because there is a 0x3 here. So I get a hit here, I read the particular data and give it back to the CPU. So I read 0x3's data and give it back to the CPU. So I don't have to go to the main memory because it's a cache hit. So the first 0x3e was a miss, 0x8 was a miss, then 0x3 is a hit. So this is cache hit. So I serviced the data in maybe not just 100 cycles, but maybe I was able to service it in 1 or 2 cycles. So which means that the stalls in the pipeline, the memory stalls in the pipeline, if you remember, we had instruction fetch, instruction decode, register fetch, execute, memory. So if it was a load instruction, it would be waiting for the memory operation to be complete. Now it would be complete in 1 or 2 cycles extra instead of waiting for 100 cycles and this stall percolating for the other CPU. I hope till now it is clear. So if you can you answer if this is clear or not? Okay. So then we said instead of me going into the main memory and fetching only 1 byte, I will fetch a couple of bytes and keep it in the cache. So now instead of having 1 byte location here, I've clubbed 2 bytes together and made it as a single block. So this is called a cache block. Sometimes it's also referred to as a cache line. So what I'm doing is now I have clubbed these 2 blocks, these 2 bytes, and said that this is one block of cache or one line of cache. We'll refer to the word as block, but some of the textbooks, some of the material might refer it to as cache line. It's the same. I will just refer it to as block because it's easier to understand. So this is a cache block. This is a cache block. I mean, a location to store a cache block. This is a location to get. So now I have clubbed 2 bytes together. The capacity has not increased. It was still 8 bytes, but now I can only store 4 blocks of cache because each block is made up of 2 bytes. So each block is made up of 2 bytes. So this capacity is 2 bytes, 2 bytes, 2 bytes, and 2 bytes. Now instead of having 4 tags, I have so instead of having 8 tags, I only need to have 4 tags because each tag now represents a particular block. So how does it work? If the CPU generates an address 0x0, I take a multiple of 2, which means that I bring 0x0 and 0x1 and keep it here, even though the CPU has not requested for the byte 0x1. And why do I do it? Because I assume that there is spatial locality in the system, which means that if the CPU generated an address x at time t, there is a very high chance that the CPU will generate an address x plus 1 at time t plus delta t. So now I bring this block, this entire block 0x0, 0x1, and keep it here in my cache. So when the CPU again generates either 0x0 or 0x1, what do? I use only the first 7 bits because the 7 bits will tell me whether it is there in the cache or not. So I use the first 7 bits and search in the tag entries. So I search in the tag entries. If it is a hit, then I use the 8th bit. If the 8th bit was 0, then I'm actually searching for the address 0x0. If the 8th bit was 1, then I'm actually searching for the data 0x1, and then I give it back to the CPU. So here I've introduced the concept of blocks, and in the tag, I don't have to store the address of the block. So if the address is 0x3 or 0x4, since I'm clubbing them to a single block, this entire block is now referred by an address 0x, sorry, not 0x. This is entire thing is referred by an address, something like this. Now, if okay, what? Sorry.
0x2 and 0x.
Yeah, sorry. So I have clubbed 0x2 and 0x3. So the address that this block is represented by is using 000 and 00. The CPU is generating an 8-bit address. I have 7 bits here and the remaining 1 bit here. This 1 bit is not stored as part of the tag, not stored as part of the tag because I don't need to store. I don't need to store it as part of the tag. Now, when the CPU generates an address, if let's say the CPU generated this address, I use the 7 bits, search that 7 bits in the tag array. If there is a hit, of course, there is a hit here because this 7 bits match with this 7 bits. I use this 1 bit of the CPU generated address. I use that 1 bit of the CPU generated address. If it was 1, I will read this particular byte. If it was 0, I will read this particular byte. So when the CPU has generated an address, so this, let's say this is the CPU generated address, there are 7 bits which form the tag, and this I call it as an offset because it's a block offset. So there are 7 bits here and 1 bit here. So this I refer to as block offset. So I use the 7 bits to search in the tag entry. If it's a hit, I use the offset. Here the offset is 1 bit. I use the offset to read whatever particular byte the CPU is requesting for. All memory are byte addressable, whether it's cache or memory. I hope till now it is clear. If it is clear, can you tell me how many bits do you need in an offset if my block size is 4? If somebody asks you, 2 bits, right? Yes, yeah. Why? Because I would have clubbed 4 different addresses, maybe 0x0, 0x1, 0x2, and 0x3. Right? So I would store 6 bits in the tag, 6 bits in the tag. So maybe it is 000, right? And then 2 bits as offset. And the offset can be 4 values. It can be either 00, 01, 10, or 11. If it is 00, if it is 00, then I read this particular byte. If it is 01, I read this particular byte. If it is 10, I read this particular byte. Right? And if it is 11, I read this particular byte. So I'm using the offset to read a particular byte from the block. So this particular line is just a virtual line. I'm not dividing anything. So it can move from here to here. If my block offset, if my block size is only 1 byte, then the number of bits in the offset is 0. If it is 2 bytes per block, then the offset is 1 bit. If it is 4 bytes in a block, then the offset is 2 bits. If there are up to 8 bytes in a block, then the offset is 3 bits. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now we'll go back to the same diagram. So we'll write the same diagram here. So now I have convinced myself that I want to club 4 bytes, 2 bytes together. So I have clubbed 2 bytes together. From now on, I will write the byte this way. Right. So let's say I write this byte here. But you can assume that this is 1 byte, and let's maybe write it like there are 2 bytes here. So this is the 0th byte, first byte, 0th byte, first byte. and there are 4 tags. So when the CPU generates an address, I have to search in 4 tag locations in parallel. So I have to search 4 tag locations in parallel, which means that I'm consuming power, and also the search time is increased because I'm searching all the tags in parallel. So I need such a huge mux and a comparator. So I would actually need such a huge mux to actually do the address decoding. So I want to have a mechanism where I don't want to search all the 4 tags, but I will search fewer number of tags. And I think you already know the answer from your valet parking. So how can I do this? So instead of searching 4 tags in parallel, now I want to search in lesser number of tags. How can I do this?
You group some blocks based on some function such as a modulus.
Yeah, so right. So now what Debashi is saying is, uh, so we have this particular tag entries. Anyway, now I will not be writing offsets. I am assuming that each block is made up of 2 bytes here. Now what I will do is I will group this as set 0 and this as set 1. Okay. So I will group this as set 0 and this as set 1. So instead of having a function and breaking my head, what I will do is when the address is generated, so now you know that this, when the CPU generates an 8-bit address, when the CPU generates an 8-bit address, the last bit, this 8th bit, or the first 7 bits are tag, the 1 bit is offset. So what I will do is I will take one more bit from here, this particular bit, and I will call it as the set index. So this is one more bit that I have taken, which means that this is no longer 7 bits, but this is 6 bits. So there is one more bit that I have taken away, and this is called a set index. If it is 0, I will use this particular set. If it is 1, then I will use this particular set. I will store the block in that particular set. So let's see how this behaves. Let's say I have an address 0x, say 0x5 itself. So now 0x5 will be clubbed with what? Now if the CPU has generated an address for 0x5, what are the bytes that I will fetch? 0x5 and
So 4 and 5.
yeah, 4 and 5, right? So I'll fetch 0x4 and 0x5. So this is, yeah, don't be silent. I know I scolded you, but somebody should tell you to get you on track, or else this will keep repeating. Get your enthusiasm back and try to answer. Right? Yeah, all I'm saying is if you're copying, don't copy. I mean, if you're showing, help people. I mean, if you really want to help, please help people. If you are still stuck, contact us. We are there to help you. Right? Yeah, don't take it personally. Any help, I'm ready to. We are ready to help you. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So let's club 0x4 and 0x5 together. Right. So this is the block that I will be bringing into the cache. So let's see, the CPU has generated an address for 0x5. Right. So now let's see the address, right? 0x00010. So this is the address that the CPU has generated. Initially, what would we have done? We would have stored these 7 bits, in the, these 7 bits in the tag, and I would have brought 0x4 and 0x5, and I would have kept it either here, or here. So I would have kept it here. So I would have kept in any of the 4 locations. Think about the valet parking system. The car would have been parked in any of the 4 locations. So I could have parked here, this block which contains the 4th byte and the 5th byte, either here, or here. I had no limitation where I could have stored. But now I am saying I have divided this into a set-based architecture or set-based cache. because I want to reduce the power consumption and I want to reduce the access time. So now what I'm doing is this one bit is anyway given away for the block offset. I will use this particular bit to decide where this block will go. Now, since it is zero, since this particular bit is zero for this block address, I am forced to go to set zero. So which means that I have to store somewhere here. So I have to store either here or here. So I have only two locations to go, either any of these two locations. So let's say I store it here. Let's say I store the address in here. So let's say I store 0x4. I store 0x4 byte and 0x5 byte here, and I have stored the particular address here. So is this clear why I am stored it in set 0? Is this clear why I have stored it in set 0?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let's say the CPU generated an address 0x7. Let's say the CPU generated an address 0x7. What byte will you bring along with 0x7?
0x6.
0x6. And how does the address look like? The address looks like right. So the block address looks like this, right? And if it is 0, it is byte 6. If it is 1, then it is byte 7. So this is the block offset. This. Whereas this particular bit will tell me which set to go to. And the set that I can store this particular block is set 1, because this is telling me it's 1. So this particular block can only be stored either here or here, any of the two empty locations. So I will choose to store, let's say this is an empty location, so I will store 0x6, 0x7 here, and I will store the address here. Now, when the CPU again generates an address, let's say now the CPU generated an address 0x4. Right. So now you know how the now that this, let's say the CPU generated an address 0x4. Okay. So this is the cache contents at that time. So the cache has two blocks in it. One is the block that's containing bytes 0x4 and 0x5. The other is 0x7 and 0x7. Sorry, 0x6 and 0x7. So the CPU generated an address 0x4. So what do I do? The CPU's address will be split into 3 components now. I have 6 bits, that is 000. It's a 4-bit. So did we make a mistake? So the CPU has generated this address. It has generated 0x4. So now I split it into 3 components. From here to here, the 6 bits are tagged. This is the index or set index. And this particular bit is called the block offset, or just the offset or line offset, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So now when the CPU has generated 0x4, the first thing that I will do is I will pluck out this particular bit and use that bit to go to a particular set. In this case, I am going to set 0 because this was 0. So I am going to set 0. And now in how many tags will I search? So then after this, I will use the tag bits. After this, I will use the tag bits to search in the cache. So how many tags do I search using those tag bits? 2 entries, right? So I search here and I search here. And fortunately, this is a hit. Fortunately, this is a hit, which means that the block I'm searching for, the address that I'm searching for, is somewhere in this and this, but it's a hit here. So I come here. Now, what do I do after coming here?
I check the offset, the block
Yes.
offset.
Yeah, right. So I just use the offset bit. I use the offset bit. I use the offset bit to read that particular byte that I'm requesting for. And since it is 0x4, I send it back to CPU. So a given CPU address is now split into tag, offset, index. So as you remember the pipeline, instruction fetch, instruction decode, register fetch, execute, memory write back. And even if I wake you up in this sleep, you should be saying those 5 things. If anybody asks you, well, how is the CPU generated address being searched in the cache, it is tag, index, offset. Okay, I'll give you some time to think about it. If you have questions, there will be a lot of questions because I am assuming you're seeing it for the first time. But it's a very beautiful feeling to understand this. So I will give you some time to think about it and ask me questions.
So shouldn't we be saying index, then tag, then offset?
Okay, that's one of my very favorite questions for PhD interviews or even any other interview I generally conduct. So I ask them, why should the index bit be here but not from the topmost thing? And there's an actual technical answer for it. If anybody answers in this class, then
So,
we'll get a question.
no, not that. Like I understood that. Like the more your index bit is to the right, it's a better hash function. Like there's
Wait.
more shuffling. Like suppose you took the leftmost bit as your index bit, and say you tend to access contiguous memory locations, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
the leftmost bit will be same for contiguous memory locations. So you'll have more
Yes.
collisions, and this is why it's not a good hash function.
Yeah.
I understood that. So, but when you were saying tag, index, and offset, were you saying the order of searching or the order of arrangements? I thought
So
you said
order of search. No, order of searching is index. First you use the index
yeah.
bit.
Index and tag, then offset, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Searching is index tag offset, but the splitting is tag index offset.
Oh, okay. So I thought you meant searching. That's why I got confused.
Yeah. Anyway, you spoiled my question also. So
Okay.
I'm not spoiled, but yeah, you already know the answer. But if somebody didn't know the answer, we'll come to that question that later.
So
But
hash functions yesterday, so it's kind of.
Oh, you used hash functions in data structures.
Yeah, we studied it in DSA just.
Yeah, but you can come up with some crazy data structure. I mean, obviously, Arjun will be moving very fast. They are like very intelligent people, right? So they come up with different kinds of cuckoo hash, this hash, that hash. You can't do all those things here. I mean, people have tried that, but finally, I am all about performance. If you complicate the hash structure, even though you might be able to store more number of blocks, if the hash function itself takes 10 cycles, then I don't want to have that hash function, right? Because I'm wasting 10 cycles to figure out where to go. So in the hardware, you are limited by the amount of time you can spend. Here, if you see here, right, if you think about this architecture, even though this is a hash function, I'm not actually using any complicated function mechanism. I'm just using one bit to decide, or some few bits to decide which particular set to go. You can come up with better hash functions than this, such that the number of collisions are reduced. But if the function itself is a computing headache for me and it takes some cycle, I don't want to have that because I want to have it as fast as possible. Okay. Are there any other questions? So can you answer this poll? Yeah, think about it. Spend some time. You might get a lot of questions. It's okay. In the first attempt, people will generally might not appreciate it. Okay, there are some few people who haven't understood. If you can ask me what is that you haven't understood, I can repeat. Or anyway, I am assuming that it will get clear and it will become clearer as we go further. I will write it down so that it's easier for you to follow. So what am I saying? When the CPU generates an address, this CPU's generated address has tag, index, offset. Okay. So I use the index bit to go to a particular set or a cache set. Here there are two sets in this example. In this example, there are two sets. I go to the particular set alone and search the tags in that set. because when I'm storing the block, I would have stored using that index bit. So then I use that index, I go to the particular, then I use the tag bits to search, of course, in parallel. And once, if there is a hit, then I use the offset to read the byte that the CPU is requested for. Right? So this is the way this happens. So first I use the index bit to go to a particular set. And once I go to the particular set, I search the tag entries in parallel. If it is a hit, then I use the offset bit to read a particular byte and give it to the cache. So it's the address is split as tag, index, and offset. Now the question is, do I need to store the index bits in the address here? So do I need to store the index bits in the address here? Do I need to store? No, right? Because anyway, I have used the index bit to come here. So any address that I am storing here will have 0 in its index bit, right? If it was not 0, then I would not have stored here. And any address that I'm storing here in its index location, in this case, in the first byte, this is 0th byte, this is the first byte. In the first byte would have 1, or else I would not have stored here. If I have broken this and stored here, then I end up with wrong data, right? Because then the CPU actually generated the request, I would not have searched here. So I don't need to store the index bit. I don't need to store the offset bit. All I'm storing is the tag bits. So I store only the tag bits as addresses. So now if you think about the address locations, it is something like this. I have tag, I have index, I have offset. This can move and collapse here, which means that I can have an address location like this. I can have tag, no index bit, and only offset. When does this happen? Can you tell me when this might happen? When there are no index bits?
When you don't divide it any in sets.
Yeah, right. So when the number of sets is equal to what? Number of? Is equal to number of?
Blocks.
Yeah, number of cache blocks, right? Because every block is a set in itself. So I don't need to actually have an index bit. Then I don't have to pluck out the index bit. I just use the tag to search in all the blocks. So this is called a fully associative cache. So now there is no index, only offset. There is one more place where I can actually move this way. So I have the same offset, but the number of index bits have increased to the maximum, and then there is tag. When can this happen? In this case, how many sets is possible at the maximum?
4.
4 sets, right? Like I can have 4 sets here. So this is one set, this is one set, this is one set, and this is one set. So there are 4 sets possible here. Right? So I will consider each block as a set. So this is called direct map cache. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't. Sorry, I think this is the wrong answer. Number of sets is equal, so for a fully associative cache, number of sets is equal to 1. For a fully associative cache, the number of sets is 1 because the entire cache is only one set, and I was searching all the blocks. Right? So it's like the previous case that we were looking at. So all the blocks are one set alone, and I have to search in all the blocks. There is no index bit to actually pick a set. There is no index bit. There is no index bit here. There is no index bit here to pick a set. So there is only one set, and the entire cache is a set. So the number of sets here is 1, and it's a fully associative cache because I have to search in all the locations in the cache. It's called fully associative because I can store the block in any of the locations. So that's why it's called fully associative cache. In a direct map cache, the number of sets is equal to the number of cache blocks, because using the index, I go to a particular set, and every cache block here, in this case, every cache block has only one location to go to. That's why it's called direct mapped cache, because every cache block has only one location to go to. It is called, that's why it's called direct map. So if we pick an address, there's only one location it can be, and that location is either there or not there. That's why the number of bits in the index is the highest. In this case, in this particular example that we are taking, the number of index bit can be up till 2, which means that it's a direct map cache. I need location and only one location it can go to. Or the index bits can be 0, because then it can be in any of the 4 locations. That's called a fully associative cache. The midway that we are looking at here in this case is called two-way associative cache. So this one that we looked at is called two-way associative cache, because any cache block that can go into 2 locations. So that's why it's called a two-way associative cache. So the midway here, the example that we looked at is a two-way associative cache. So similarly, there is 4-way associative cache, 8-way associative cache, 16-way associative cache, so on and so forth. In your system, generally, there will be 16-way associative cache to direct map caches. Last level of cache will be a 16-way or 8-way associative cache. Of course, if you haven't understood this, it's okay, because I was running through, but we will revisit it again. But I hope you at least understood till here. So what is this tag? What is this index? What is this offset? Anyway, I have a class tomorrow also for you, because I think it's the Friday's timetable tomorrow. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I think it's tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow is Friday's timetable. So I'll have a class tomorrow again for you. And Friday also we'll have a class, because Friday is again Friday's timetable only. So by the end of Friday, we will be giving you some introduction to cache, and then the assignment, the project will come where you will be actually designing a cache in your simulator. So that will be your project. I will put up on Friday end how you go about designing the project. But of course, the cache itself, we will run it through the end of the semester, mostly till the end of the semester. We'll be discussing about cache and main memory.
Sir?